Today at Symmons Plains Raceway. They're out in the circuit now, putting some heat into those Hoosier tyres. Here's how it looks coming into the third race. And Cameron Tilley, the surprise packet right now, running second to John Bowe, the round winner from Adelaide just a few weeks ago.
Well, the series uses a point score that very much rewards consistency and punishes DNF. So Stephen Johnson, DNF, the final race in Adelaide, it cost him 60 points. John Bowe got all of those and as a result leads the championship. But Cameron Tilley has been the accumulator this year, just ticking over the points finishes. Fifth yesterday, doesn't have the raw speed to compete at the front of the field. If he scores good points in every round, he may find himself in contention when we get to the Coates Newcastle 500 at the very end of the season. It seems like an age away, and it seems like it's too early to be talking about championship points, but you've got to score in every race to keep yourself in contention. We'll say it a lot in this race. Have a look at these conditions. Adam Bressington's got the driver's eye view in the White Line Racing Chevy Camaro. A lot of rain, moist conditions here at Symmons Plains. This is going to be very interesting.
Adam not really thinking about us or the fans at home today, just thinking about the windscreen wiper on his side only.
Yeah.
Aboard that 95.
Yeah, well,
here's Leo Tobin.
Word him up about that later on. Not good enough.
This guy's had an impressive weekend so far, Leo Tobin.
He's a really underrated driver, very passionate about the category. Don't worry, it's a rolling start, so Steve won't be penalised for being about 4 miles out of his grid box there on grid 1. They follow the Vodafone safety car for one more lap, so it's another opportunity to get some tyre temperature, and that is going to be critical because that run over the crest at turn 1 and then the change of direction at turn 2 on cold tyres, these cars are going to be sliding around, struggling for grip. And the other action zone for me, Matt, is the braking zone into the hairpin at turn 4 on cold rubber. Where do you brake? How do you judge your braking point and try and get the thing stopped without ending up beached in the sand trap down there?
So 15 laps. We'll take up the grid very, very soon for race number 3. 4 races over each of the rounds of the Painter-Dixon Touring Car Masters. And as they finished, it's how they'll start today. Johnson and Bowe on the front row. Hansford and Adam Bressington on the second row. Cam Tilley and Jason Gomersall, a breakthrough win in the trophy race yesterday. Leo Tobin and Jim Policina, who got that car repaired yesterday after race number 1. Leon Bell and Mark King starting off the 5th row. Some news on that we'll get to very soon. And Andrew Fisher and Paul Freestone. Unfortunately for Gavin Bullis, he had to pull out after damaging his engine after qualifying. News
overnight, brand new engine in the King Springs number 85 Chevy Camaro White Line Racing with some help from the multi-spares crew who stayed back to cater for Bob and Sharon Middleton's team while they were putting a new engine in. They're good to go, so it was an engine failure for Mark King yesterday, but they'll go from the back of the field. And we've got a different driver behind the wheel of car number 25. That's the Paul Freestone Chevy Camaro. Unfortunately, Paul was taken ill during race 2 yesterday, so he's not taking any further part. Fortunately, working on his car's a pretty handy replacement, Brett Youlden, a TCM race winner. So Brett's gone and borrowed a race suit from John Bowe and folded himself into it because JB is still very svelte. I'm not saying Brett isn't,
no,
but he's got himself into that. He said, I've done 10 laps in this car at testing. I've never driven a left-hand drive car and it's raining. But he will go from the back of the field in the 69 Camaro. So great to see that car back on the field, and we hope Paul makes a speedy recovery. We'll see him back at Winton in a couple of weeks' time. So
this will be interesting. Very tricky conditions out there. It's not exactly raining out there. It's just drizzling, if I can use that term, as the Vodafone safety car pulls away from the field. Johnson and Bowe on the front row. They will be the pioneers going down into turn 1 and 2. Hansford and Bressington on the next row. Bressington's had a great weekend. He picked up a win in Adelaide earlier this year. And Hansford in the other Tirana as we get underway, and wheel spin right in front of our commentary box. They were going nowhere with plenty of RPM as everybody tiptoes their way down into turn 1, 2 and 3 for the first time.
Watch the Valiant Pacer in these conditions. It's a lighter car, it's got less horsepower, but that might actually play to its advantage. Big moment. Does he keep it out of the fence? Just slight contact on the exit of turn 3. He'll select reverse and drive on. And there's the Pacer. Tilley sliding under brakes, but he's already up to 4th. Ryan Hansford will be his next target.
Experience will be the key. There's 1 or 2 guys out in front of where they are. They've had experience in these conditions for so many years. It's the guys in the back like Leon Bell, for example, his first time in these kind of conditions with a big horsepower car. Look at the conditions on the outside right now. Wisp of spray from the multi-spares Tirana, and Cam Tilley starting to push Ryan Hansford as we go down to turn 6.
These conditions are made for Cameron in that 6-cylinder Pacer. lightweight car. It'll suit the greasy conditions. Doesn't like the full wet, but I think in these intermediate conditions, it'll be really good. Johnson with a clear lead at the end of lap 1. His margin, as they cross the line, is officially 2.1 seconds. Tilley squeezes himself up the inside. Hansford's holding on to the multi-spares Tirana. Big slide over the crest at turn 1, but he got it stopped somehow. Not sure how, but he did. A lot of talent. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. And he held on to it. Brilliant driving. Great move. Tilley's third.
I don't think they touched either.
Oh, there might have been a slight bit of paint exchange, but that was about it.
Down to turn 4, they've pulled in John Bowe at the same time, so Ryan Hansen absolutely brave in these conditions in that multi-spares number 6 Tirana at DNF yesterday. To take a look at a replay, and Johnson just disappeared with that slingshot start from pole position. Everybody else got a whole bag of wheel spin on the run down to turn 1.
See the cars squirming around as they try and apply the pressure through cold, slick Hoosier tyres on the back of these cars. Everyone around. So let's see if we can understand what happened to Jason Gomersal. So watch on the left of screen. Ooh, was there a little bit of contact with Jim Polisena behind it? Didn't look like it.
The view from the bridge really showed. I think he might have just gassed it up a bit going through. There's definitely no contact.
Oh. Good catch and great job to keep it out of the wall.
It's half a mark on the side there, isn't it? Yeah, just gassed it up and come across the grass and just creased the front left slightly.
If there was any touch from Polisena, it was so gentle, but I think you're right, Matt. It was off the line, had a bit of a slide, and the car went around. Now Hansford's got back past Cameron Tilley, back up to third, and he's chasing John Bowe. So the Tirana's now duking it out for second and third. Tilley back to fourth. There's the fight for 5th and 6th with Polisena, just his 5th ever Touring Car Masters race. Now leading Adam Bressington, who was a winner earlier this year at the Adelaide 500.
So Johnson's margin is 4 seconds on this lap. We go back to Mark King with a new engine in between the front wheels of that 85 car, and Andrew Fisher hoping to just bring the car home with a result today in the Jesus Racing number 9 GDHO Falcon, pulling out for a pass now down the inside into turn 6. Will he get it done? Late on the brakes, and Fish moves up a spot as we go to the pits.
The conditions are a little bit more wet, guys, although the drizzle's stopping as I'm talking to you, but the track is probably at its slipperiest at the moment. In the meantime, the 2 Tiranas have said that they're really struggling to get temperature into their tyres.
I wonder if the bigger, heavier Mustang just working its tyres harder and ironically getting them up to temperature quicker. So Hansford on the march forward, fighting with John Bowe for second. Andrew Fisher pulling away now from King, who's just struggling for traction at turn 3. And here's Brent Youlton. So he's made up 3 spots already, started from the back of the field. A couple of positions going, not a bad effort for his first drive in anger in number 25 Camaro.
King might have waved him by there too. Saw the hand come out the windows. We go back to the battle between Hansford and Bowe, who lines him up for a pass. So the 2 Tiranas at turn 6. And Hansford gives him enough room until the exit of the turn. They bump door handles. Hansford holds on, stays in second, and about to set the fastest lap of the race as well at the same time.
So Hansford had passed Bowe, and that had happened earlier in the lap. And then Bowe was attacking back on the run into turn 6. So this is where it happened. Under the bridge. Did Bowe have a moment? Oh, a little bit. Just a really good run under there for Ryan Hansford. Power down nicely, and the multi-spares Tirana went through. So whatever they've done to that car overnight, it's hooked up in these greasy conditions. And the Queenslander driving it very well. So he's up to second. Bowe fought back, but Hansford was pretty firm in shutting the door.
A little bit more grip on the inside line maybe. This was the pass, and just a slight bump there going through as they both seesawed away at the steering wheels of their respective Tiranas. And that fight continues on. It's come back to 3.5 seconds now. First to second place now. And now Tobin. I was just wondering what happened to Tobin, and there he is.
Hansford's flying. He's taken a second out of Stephen Johnson on this lap alone. So that multi-spares Tirana is absolutely flying up the leaderboard at the moment. The gap 2.7, it's under 3 seconds. Leo's not sure what's going on in the number 46 Ford Mustang.
It's a very narrow part of the circuit too, so we saw that big crash last year. Here's the replay. Was it the same? Yep.
Just on that bump there, just unloaded the rear of the car.
He missed the wall.
Gee, they've got lucky through there, haven't they? Jason Gomersal on the opening lap, and now Leo. So see the bump, and that's where the car breaks traction. Wheel spin, slide, spin. hold your breath moment for Leo, but no damage to the beautiful Ford Mustang that he's so very proud of and drives very, very well. Fastest up of the race, Ryan Hansford, by the way. The gap, 2.5. He's got time here, Matt. He's going out after John Bow. Stephen Johnson even, who's leading.
It's another fast lap. On the previous lap, there's the smack in the door on the passenger side. Let's run it. There's the gap. About over a second in this lap alone. So Hansford on the charge here.
Buff out, won't it?
Yeah, sure.
It'll be all right.
Final turn they go. And looks like the track slowly starting to dry out, but the backside of the circuit is still wet, particularly through turn number 5 as we watch Cam Tilley running back and forth. Here's Policina being attacked by Bressington. Tucked right in behind the back of the Mocom Tirana that had a power steering issue with this car yesterday in race number 1 of the day. Jump on board with Bressington, former V8 Utes racer back in the days, and had a couple of guest appearances, didn't he, early on in Touring Car Masters, but now full-time in the series for the past couple of years. Long way back through the gearbox. Careful on the brakes, down to this turn 4 hairpin where the track plunges away.
Waiting to see if there was any sound of wheel spin coming out of there. He's got good drive, but the car's wheel spinning and he's going up from 3rd to 4th gear down the back straight. Drives this car well. This great little team from Adelaide, Bob and Sharon Middleton, who own and run White Line Transport out of Greenfields, northern suburb, the city there, and passionate motor racers. Bob, of course, from a Speedway heritage as Bressington goes up the inside, racing on the Thunderdome, former NASCAR champion. Long association with Andrew Medicki in this car. Andrew stepped away a couple of years ago. Bressington stepped in. Ultimately finished 3rd in the championship last year. Missed out on the overall title by just a couple of points. Won the Pro-Am championship though, so got the big trophy. It's a great little family outfit. And Adam and his young family got all the rounds as well. Really involved. You often see his 2 kids, you know, cleaning the tyres or polishing the car, getting themselves ready to go racing.
Welcome additions to the championship over the past couple of years. Johnson, 1.6 seconds down. It's evident there. Lap 5, he took nearly 2 seconds out. Then Ryan Hansford on the lead. A further second in the past 2 laps. And time on his side as we're halfway home in the 3rd race of the Paynter-Dixon Touring Car Masters. Another one to come up today to determine the round winner.
The track clearly getting better as it dries out because every driver set their personal best lap on the last lap of the race, so it gets faster and faster. And 60.5, so exactly 1 minute, 0.5 for Ryan Hansford, fastest lap of the race. But as it dries out, the conditions are coming back to Johnson. So his car getting better and better, and while Hansford is closing, not closing quite so fast as he was when it was wetter 5 or 6 laps ago.
Leo Tobin goes a lap down after having that spin on the straight between turns 3 and 4. So about 4 seconds away from what they normally run. Hopefully for the final race, the sun breaks through and we have a faster race. At the moment, everybody driving very well indeed in this race as Hansford comes up to put a lap on Tobin. And Bow trying to charge back. He's on target for the fastest lap of the race right now.
Well, Bow now all of a sudden is the fastest guy on the racetrack, so really struggled the greasy conditions early, but he's now catching Hansford. So this could all condense in the final couple of laps. JB's just got to work his way past Leo. They run down into turn 1 and 2. Does punch out the fastest lap of the race. First under 60 seconds, 59.9. Just balls a bit more time. Hansford, for the first time, actually slower than Johnson, so that gap stabilising. Cameron Tilley behind them in 4th, Bressington 5th. Policina still running an excellent 6th. Sydney Sider, full-time debut in Touring Car Masters this year. Then back to this scrap. Brett Youlden up to 7th place from the back of the field in a borrowed car in conditions that probably aren't favourable. The left-hand drive car, he's only ever done 10 laps in. What a terrific drive.
Might hide the keys from Paul Freestone. What car?
Struggling to give them back. Brett sold his HQ Monaro last year, so he's on the sidelines at the moment. Might give him the motivation to come back, but Andrew Fisher, motivation or not, wants his 7th position. The Jesus Racing Falcon will have a look down here at the hairpin. Good to see it running reliably in this race. They've reverted back to all of the oil lines they used to use on this car. So they've gone with what they've known rather than trialling new components.
Just to get a result.
Yeah, they just need development time on this car. They're doing all their testing in the races. If you haven't followed the story, it crashed.
Oh, we spoke too soon.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Andrew.
There's a whisk of smoke out the back once again.
Please finish. He'll come after us. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but...
Well, we won all of that.
What's his breaking point?
Oh, man. Slide in the back of that car now, isn't it? So Yilden starts to pull away from Bow again, the fastest on the circuit, and about 4/10 behind Hansford. Continue this battle with Yilden, Fisher and King, 7th, 8th and 9th. Back to another battle, 2nd to 3rd place now, the two Tiranas. And John Bow is clawing in on the back of the multi-spares entry. Closer than ever now, so they come through to complete another lap. There'll be 4 laps to go this time by.
Gee, he gets good drive out of turn 6, John Bow. Close right in as they cross the start-finish line, and Hansford's car visibly moving around, sliding around, where Bowers is straight and accurate as always. Johnson works his way past Leon Bell, the Tasmanian, making his debut in TCM in the GDS 350 Monaro. Look at the bottom of that thing yesterday. It's an unbelievable setup, 4 carbies. Hansford, big move. Jim closed in a little bit on Johnson there. He was held up by the Monaro. So the leading 3 have all closed in this last lap, and Bow in 3rd place is the fastest of them all.
And 11 seconds back to Tilly. Here's the replay down through 1, 2 and 3. And both cars just squirming under brakes.
Yeah, but how's the difference in the ride control over the bumps there between Bow's thing, which was so composed and smooth? Hansford's car was skating around, sliding and really reacting to the bumps there. It's a very well set up and developed race car number 18.
Good Johnson looking on going, yeah, you can have those conditions. I'll sit here and keep warm and dry in the garage down there at DJR Team Penske. And now Bow, better drive out of turn 2. There's some more lap traffic ahead. That's Gomersall going a lap down after winning the trophy race yesterday. So watch the background of this shot.
He wants a return serve here, JB, because he copped some damage during that contact early on when they banged doors coming out of turn 6. See the dent in the side behind the number 6 on the multi-spares Tirana. Now Gomersall's in a world of pain here, and it's cost John Bow because they were dealing with the lap car. Bow was going to have a run on Hansford, got great drive out of the hairpin, couldn't quite get past because Gomersall was in the way, and that gives Ryan the defensive line on the run into 6. Just a couple of laps to go. This fight really starting to intensify now. Bow is on the attack.
Gee, Ryan Hansford, I'm so glad he's in this series. It's such a perfect fit. He's holding John Bow at bay, and now Bressington has found the gravel at turn 4. He's in deep with 2 laps to go. And
that might be an aid for Ryan Hansford, because that'll be a yellow flag area. So a couple of wheels on the grass and the white line, really slippery. And Bressington just had a big moment, slipped the car up into the gravel. Once you're up that far, you don't get out. It's the only beach.
Not to turn it into the wall. This was a bit further back. Remember we ran that HQ with the 100 years of Yilden racing? I'd love to buy that boot off him, hanging up in the shed one day. Final lap. We're going time certain here as they go side by side, the 2 Tiranas once again. So 2 turns remaining for Bow, who's going around the outside. They won't catch Johnson, but this is the battle we're talking about. They were glued to each other through the second last turn, but Johnson will pick up another W in the Touring Car Masters here today in tricky conditions. Hansford just held back a menacing John Bow for 2nd.
Equals his best ever finish in TCM, Ryan Hansford. They're edging closer and closer to a race win in the multi-spares Tirana. Great battle. That car dropped back late in the race, and we understand from pit lane that they went quite aggressive on their tyre pressures, so got up to temperature and pressure early in the race so it could march forward. Then it overpressured as the race went on and started to slip back. What a great battle that was for 2nd. A little bit of contact early on, but I think they'll laugh that off. They would have both really enjoyed it. And Hansford does Johnson a favour there, because that DNF in Adelaide really cost Stevie J. He needed to pull as many points back from John Bow as he could. And Bow just back in 3rd behind Ryan Hansford certainly helps his cause. What a great race. Johnson's 2 from 2 in the points races here in Tassie, and just ekes his way back up the leaderboard in the Painter-Dixon Touring Car Masters.
And Fisher gets home for a result in 6th position, so everybody can breathe down there at the Jesus Racing team. Hansford 2nd, Bow in 3rd, back to Tilly. Policina, his best result. Fisher, Freestone, it's not Freestone in the car today. Brett Yilden's in the number 25, and King Gomersall and Leon Bell completing the top 10 of that race.